Hi, this is Dr. Scott, and today we're going to get into even the IRS employees aren't paying their taxes. So we're going to talk a little bit about how IRS, even federal employees aren't doing their fair share. Um, there's a disconnect, and you're hearing about it. Um, and and this should actually be kind of fun with this too. So I'm going to show you a couple videos and just some interesting stuff that's kind of going around, and people are kind of connecting the dots. The cool thing for you, and by the way, you're going to see some gold in the background. The reason why I'm doing gold in the background, and you might say that's orange. Okay, I can't make it any different color than that. I tried like crazy. I'm going to do gold until we go to a gold back currency. Orange, if you want to say orange, I'm just saying, or I'm just saying gold. Okay, so I'm just telling you, we're close. I know we're close, but I'm just telling you right now, I'm just believing like this because I'm seeing some weirdness out there in the world with that too. Okay, so listen to this lady. She's got an interesting kind of statement out
Last
there.
few weeks is federal. One of the strangest things that I've seen the last few weeks is federal employees who've recently lost their jobs, demonstrating that they don't have any understanding of what it means to create value. They're demonstrating something that Karl Marx made famous called the labor theory of value.
Okay, so it's very interesting because I actually have seen the same thing too. Elon had said, "What's the 5 things you did, this week?" And these federal employees are having a hissy fit. I mean, they're like, "I spent all week thinking about this, and in one day, I listed out 5 things I did in that morning." I mean, many business owners can think of it what they did in the last hour. Productive issues. Like, and I sort of remember what they were. It was like I completed payroll, I paid sales tax, and it was stuff like that. And these people can't even come up with things that they did, that they accomplished, right? And this is how freaked out they are when we're pushing back just accomplishing value. And this is so cool. The world is kind of spinning back and looking at them. We're pushing a mirror upon them.
This is the idea that the value of something is determined by how much work it took to produce it. So you're seeing people who've recently lost their jobs say things like, but I went to work every day, but I did my job. I shouldn't have been fired. They're essentially saying, I did my job, and so I'm entitled to have a job. Now, a lot of people that work in the civilian world understand that that's not really how it works. If a company is trying to run more efficiently, the first thing they're going to do is look at where the value production is coming from. And if you work in a place where you're not producing a lot of value for the company, you're likely to
Value
lose your
production.
job. So, what federal employees are seeing as being targeted or being victimized is actually just what the rest of the workforce knows is just how a business is supposed to be run.
Huh. Interesting, right? So at the same moment in time that April 15th rolls around, 20,000 workers basically say, "Oh, we're resigning." Now, it's funny that the story of the summary of the post may evolve over time. Grok can make mistakes, verify its posts. What? You're saying that post is wrong? Approximately 20, it's actually around 22,000 IRS employees have accepted a resignation offer. Now, guys, think about this for a second. Why were they doing so? Because the IRS system is going away? You think? Okay. Pause that one for a half a second and let's give you this one.
Hi, Harris. Well, most Americans did have to write a big fat check to the government today to pay their taxes, but over 100,000 federal workers are not paying their taxes on time. In 2020.
Oh, hold on a second. 150,000 workers, federal workers, are not paying their taxes on time.
The IRS found that almost 150,000 federal workers owe about $1.5 billion in unpaid taxes. Over 5,000 of them work at the IRS and owe $50 million in overdue taxes. Senator Joni Ernst introducing several bills aimed at cleaning up the IRS. One bill would require IRS employees to be audited every year and fired if they don't pay their taxes. Another bill would sell off the IRS's weapons stockpile.
Think about this one. There were 4,500 guns, 539 long barrel rifles. What the flock do they need long barrel rifles? 5 million rounds of ammo, 15 submachine guns. Sorry for saying that. I mean, if you get offended, I'm not trying to be rude here. But ammo for its 2,100 special agents. What do they need to have this stuff for? Since 2020, they've been stocking up with $10 million in guns and ammo so that they could do what?
Spent about 10 million taxpayer dollars buying guns and ammo, stockpiling 4,500 guns, 5 million rounds of ammo, even 15 machine guns. Ernst says it's time to sell that stockpile off to pay down the debt, helping Doge's mission. So far, Doge has saved taxpayers $155 billion and counting.
I'm almost speechless when I hear that, right? I mean, I hear that and I go, okay, so for instance, they saved, they're not federal workers. The I-9 stipulates if you are a citizen of the United States of America, you must pay federal and state income tax. And the actual stipulation of and this has been stated over and over again. The actual stipulation of that is that you're a citizen of DC. And when Trump has been saying, instead of District of Columbia, he's been talking about District of America. I mean, he's telling you that we're not going to utilize the notation of District of Columbia. He's telling you we're deleting that particular zip code, if that's what it is. I don't even actually know if they are a zip code. And I go, wait a second, this whole thing is being flushed down the toilet. I mean, this last weekend here, this is Easter weekend when I'm recording this, and I had a septic problem. It cost me like $3,200 because the idiot builder didn't put in a correct septic issue to be able to flush my toilets, and all of my toilets were all messed up with this. And yet the toilets in DC are way worse on a metaphorical level, probably even on a physical level, than any of my toilets in my house were. And I would say to you guys that if $1.5 billion have not been collected by 150,000 federal workers who are exactly under the guise of the IRS destination statements, and 5,000 workers who work at the IRS do not pay their taxes, and every single one of them should be audited before any single person, including me, who's been audited more times than I can count. Why are we audited and not them? I'm telling you what, the systems of DC are coming down. Now, many of you keep asking me the same question. Does the federal taxation issues come down with Nassara? Yes. Do the state systems come down as well? Yes. Do capital gains taxes come down? Yes, because they're all part of the same systems. Capital gains taxes are just a type of taxation that is encompassed inside of the IRS. Because if you ask the question, where do you pay capital gains taxation? To the IRS. You don't pay it any other place. Think about where you pay capital gains, IRS. All of that stuff has to go away. Now, I know you tend to play, I mean, if you're in the state of Michigan or you're in the state of Oklahoma or in the state of Texas or whatever that state is, you tend to pay your state taxation to that state, if you have state taxation. And yet, do you know that the state taxation for your income really goes to the federal government? Because that does not go into the state coffers. And I know that sounds crazy because I have looked at the state budgets. The state budgets include tolls, excise taxes, sometimes some other kinds of interesting taxation points, but the biggest portion, the absolute huge portion of it is sales tax, county, state, and city sales tax. So, for instance, in the city of Tulsa, where I reside, it's 8.517. Now, if I had an office in Broken Arrow, it's like 9 point something. I don't even know the exact number. So, for instance, when a patient buys something in another place, since we're dispensing it out of our Tulsa office, we do it at 8.517 because we're dispensing it from our office. We have to buy it and sell it out of our own office with that too. So we're doing the sales tax out of that one particular area. So one of the things that most people don't realize is that taxation comes portions out when I pay those taxes in the middle portion of the month. I pay it out and it shunts a little bit of it out to the state, the city, and the county. Okay. And I just pay it out in the different areas. They take my credit card thing, and then I pay the credit card at the end of the month, right? Now, when we think about how the state runs their budget, it's all off of those things. It never comes from any IRS budgeting or the state income tax budgeting. When you have an auditor, though, they never come from DC. They always come from the state areas. So if you live in Michigan and you get an auditor, he's from his audit office in the Michigan area. You don't normally get it from Kentucky or wherever or Utah, the area. You get it from your local area, and then he's making that judgment for the whole system of this. This is the fascinating part of this. And the reality is, when they're telling you about this stuff, and it happens after April 15th, the systems are flushing. You guys should be all super excited because the federal employees are freaking out. They know their time of joy is coming to an end. And you should be excited because they're going to be held to a higher standard, the standard that you and I have always been living under in civilian law and civilian life. Be happy. It's coming, guys. Have faith. Many of you have lost your hope. Your hope has been crushed. But I live on faith because I see the future. I know where we're coming. Over a year ago, no one was talking about the deletion of the IRS. No one was talking about a gold-backed currency. I was one of the few people talking about either one of those things for the excuse me, for the past 5 years. But guess what? All of that stuff is sitting on the surface, and all we have to do is see it come into fruition. Thanks so much.